Welcome to Lost in the Lakes, and today we're going for a high one.
Welcome to Lost in the Lakes, where you get brews, reviews, but best of all, views.
We're going up Skiddaw. If anyone knows this mountain, Skiddaw, as the non-locals call it, and Skiddaw, everyone else calls it. So at the moment, I'm already high up. That's probably the second highest camp I've ever done, and we're only just starting. So we're up at 2,000 foot on a place called Jenkins Hill, which is the main route up Skiddaw. Now the plan today is to get up and hopefully no one's in my camping place. I've got an idea of where I can camp. In fact, when I was up the mountain over there, what's that called? It's got white stones. Calcide. So, not Calcide, Whiteside, no. Calcide, yes, Calcide. When I was up there, I spied someone up on Skiddaw, kind of in between Little Man and Skiddaw's false summit. Now, the problem with camping on the top of Skiddaw, it's all rocks. Now, I do believe if you carry on down the far side of Skiddaw, there is some grass, quite possibly a camping place that's higher than the first intended one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to Little Man, have a look across, drop down, which will take us to the sort of first intended camping place, and we can have a look at that. Then we'll walk on to the top of Skiddaw itself, carry on past, not touching the trig, and see how that goes, see what it's like that side. We've got time, but we haven't got too much time. It's 7 o'clock already. Set off at 6 o'clock from the car park, which is just down there, just to give me a bit of a head start, because I was running late on this one. Saturday, sometimes it's a bit of a push to get up before 5 o'clock, really. Now, there's some people on top of Little Man already. They might be going up for a camp, might be just being up at the top and just late coming down. But another thing I've got is a new tent. You'll see what that is when I get it up. And there's obviously a reason why I'm going up here. First time I've used the tent, so you can maybe guess what it is. See how hazy it is over there. It's not raining, but it's just one of them summer hazes that that you get when you've got some sort of summer. I think this is all we're going to get, to be honest. The wind's warmish, as you can tell. I'm in a t-shirt, so you know, I think we're going to be all right for tonight. I'm also doing these kind of as tests for winter to, you know, to get the go up higher now in summer when anything fails. It should be all right. You know, I've got my 3-season sleeping bag with me, so if everything fails, at least I can bivvy. You know, I've got a tent I can wrap round me as a bivvy, and don't know, just sort of poke my head out some hole, I don't know, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not envisaging it being that windy. These winds now are supposed to drop. Obviously down there it's 20-mile-an-hour winds. We're up at 2,000 feet, nearly 800 meters, and you know, we're going to be above 900 meters hopefully for the camp, or maybe not. Skiddaw's 3,000 foot, so we'll see. Still working out these meters thing. Look at this little baby. Hello. Hello. The sheep up here are so used to humans, just because this track's so well used. I was down the bottom there and there was a sheep right next to the footpath, and then a springer sort of came down, well trained, didn't bother the sheep, and the sheep didn't bother. You know, the dog sort of went right up to it and you know, sort of next to it, not like rushing just because they were walking past, because the sheep was right there, and the sheep just stood ground and they just sort of passed each other, sort of looked at each other. It just shows these sheep are very used to humans. Right, there's still two people up on the top of Little Man, or the first summit anyway. I'm not sure, but it looks like they could be on bikes. They sort of stood around, maybe they're just taking photos and stuff, but this up here is a bridleway to the top of Skiddaw, and as you can see, it's a big old path. Look at that. I mean, this path is what, 1, 2, let's do it in meters, shall we? 1, 2, 3 meters wide, and it's 3 meters wide all the way up, and it was made like that just because if it didn't, you know, if this wasn't made like this, there'd be people wandering around sort of trying to avoid bogs and in the sheep and all sorts. And so this is probably, even though a big scar on the land, it's your sort of sacrificial path to keep everyone from wandering off, and it seems to do the job. I mean, you look over here, it's just grass. Look over this side, it's just grass again, so there's no sort of footprints or paths made by anyone else. And to be fair, this path is probably the most direct route and the best one, really, because you get a view. So I mean, if you're up over there somewhere, you don't get that, which is why we all climb mountains, isn't it? To get the views. Or the Wainwrights, one or the other. That's one thing, you know, people have said, why don't you do Wainwrights? And to be honest, for me, it takes the enjoyment out of it. It's almost like you're doing mountains for mountain's sake, I don't know. It gets you out there and exploring. It's a bit like when I did a bit of geocaching. It gets you places where you don't normally go. But making these videos do as well. Although Skiddaw is very much a mountain I do know and go up. It's sort of the big 3,000 footer right next to Keswick, so it's the big one to go up if you're in Keswick. I used to do a bit of camping in my younger years, and God, the equipment was a lot different back then. I know I'm not that old, but only 20 years ago, the kit that you could get, and also the kit that I could afford back then. I worked in an outdoor shop, so I got a significant discount back in the days when you could, when outdoor shops were owned by the company they were named after. Blacks was Blacks. Actually, it wasn't. Blacks was Free Spirit, and the other one, Millets, I think it was. But Blacks was the sort of main one. Now they're sort of been bought out by these bigger companies. And you can see it in Keswick. There's not many independent shops now. And it's happening all around. And it's happening with all the businesses in town as well. You know, you've got more or less independent shops and holiday companies. Whether it's a good thing, makes more of a competition, keeps it cheaper for the people that need the money. Because I mean, Keswick will always be a tourist trap. I always used to say Keswick could never fail. That disease that happened 4 years ago certainly put an end to things. And before that was foot and mouth, mad cow's disease. Are you allowed to call it mad cow's disease anymore? I don't know. Is it offensive to cows? Anyway. Right, we're up on the first little summit of Lower Man. We're going up to Little Man, I think it's called. I can never remember these two mountains here, Lower Man and Little Man. I always get mixed up. Pretty sure Lower Man is near Blencathra and this is Little Man. So we've got a spot here that we could camp. This would definitely be the highest camp I've ever done. There's Calside just down there. So we're above that point. Wind's all right here. I'd be quite happy in my my other tent, my Terra Nova. But this one, I mean, if my Terra Nova can be all right with this new tent I've got will be perfectly fine. So the time's 7:15 now. We've made good time actually getting up here. I thought it would be at least sort of 7:30 now and an 8 o'clock summit or even 8:15, but I think we're going to be all right for time. Right, there's also a little bit down here as well. As you can tell, the wind's dropped, so you can still get a high pitch in the shade of the wind. The last 2 high camps I did, there wasn't too much wind, and again, this is forecast to die down in the night, but obviously when I'm pitching it's going to be the windiest part, so that'll be a good indication to see what it's like. I keep going on about this tent. I still haven't told you what it is yet, but you'll see. I don't know. Can anyone guess yet? Is it that side? Oh, it's that side. Can anyone guess what it is? That's the poles. I've gone for a different colour this time. So tents usually are sort of green, red, and then like an off greeny brown, what they call sand. So I've gone for a sandy colour because I've noticed sometimes my tents are too green. And when you come up here, I'm in the middle of summer and there's a lot of sandy colours here, which, you know, there's nothing really green until you look down at them trees down in where Skiddaw House is. So, and again, because this is going to be my full-on 4-season tent, I think a sandy colour will go for winter time as well. Don't mean in snow, but you know, when the ground's died off, sandy colour might blend in a bit better. Now, I've had comments about why, you know, I've seen comments on other videos about why not a red tent. Well, to be perfectly honest, them's the rules. If you go onto the Lake District National Park and have a look at the wild camping rules, they say get a tent that blends in to your environment. And you know, because the whole idea of wild camping is hear no evil, see no evil. You know, take your stuff with you, and don't be seen when you're pitched. Don't be annoying people. Right, so we're getting to the summit of Little Man. We'll get an idea of what the wind's going to be like. Okay, must be about 30 to 40. Right, I can already see someone pitched where I wanted to be, so we're not going to be annoying. We're going to pitch somewhere else, I think. Might go over and see them. Might even know who they are. Right, let's get going. Right, so plan B, we're going to go on the backside of Skiddaw, see if we can get anything there. Down there's a couple of people down, already camping there, so I don't want to spoil their fun, me babbling onto my camera when they're trying to enjoy the views or get some kip or whatever. So we're going to go straight up over the top, and I'm glad I thought about this prior, because like I say, I've seen people camping there before, so I'm not surprised to see another 2 people camping there. Okay, stuck a jacket on, coming up to the last cairn where it properly does level off, and then we get a good idea of what the wind is going to be like for the night. I'm already scouting out little points I could maybe sleep on, pitch a tent. I mean, you can pitch a tent anywhere, but it's whether you can sleep on the angle or the stuff that you've pitched it on. Right, as you can probably see, it's not the coziest pitch in the world on the top of here, so even though putting rocks down to stop your tent from moving, you're still going to be very uncomfortable. Look at that ground. Now that's coming our way, this cloud here, and then after that it just seems clear, so hopefully we get some nice sunshine for the top and hopefully for a pitch. You know, if I'm going to be looking off that way, might as well get some decent sunsets. So the plan is to go over the top there. Look at that. Love a good sunset up here. Now see what I mean by the colour. The colours that, you know, you get a green tent, but this is, it's all brown and, you know, there's not sort of any bright greens or anything. Right. Okay. So we're into the unknown. I've always been up to the top and I've never been down this way. So hopefully, I tell a lie, I have done this. This is part of the Bob Graham. I did the first part of the Bob Graham once. Never did it again. So I have been down here, but it was snowy, it was January, it was dark, it was horrible, cold, and probably the worst time to do a part of the Bob Graham. I mean, I was feeling super fit and everything, but just, yeah. So this is my second time down here, and I don't know where I'm going to camp. I'm just hoping I get over this bit here and see something. Look at that. Sun shining off Bass Lake there. And that sun, that cloud is clearing. It's starting to get Bass Lake now. So that means it's only about maybe 5 miles off I can see what looks like a potential pitch, but it also looks not flat. Just looking down there. If anyone's wondering what this radio is here, anyone who knows me, I'm a bit of a geek for gadgets, and this is a radio scanner, but it's also a radio. So at the moment I've got this on FM, so I'm just listening to a bit of music when I'm just walking along. It's a bit different actually, I've never done that before. Obviously when people come along I silence it. Right, it does look like there might be some potential pitching points here. Levels off a little bit. So we're not dropping down too far. I think we might still be higher than the original pitch. And again, this is a quieter side. Now, if I was determined, I think here might be all right. I'm almost amazed that I found this. I mean, we're on a slope, but right, I'm going to have a little wander around. I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to have a look at this point over here. Because again, I think this might be another one down here. It does look like it might get a bit boggy if it rains, but there's no forecast for rain tonight. And again, we've got the tent. We've got the tent. I keep telling you this. I still haven't told you what it is, but we'll soon guess when we get it up. Right, this is it. We're going to do it. Right, we're going to make it. I wanted a high pitch, so I think this is going to be it right here. Okay, now for the tent reveal. Those have guessed what it is already. It's made in Estonia. Every YouTuber has one of these. A Hilleberg Solo. Right, let's get this up. Gonna shift that there a bit so these pegs are in a funny angle. There we go. We need to come out. Right, that's it, the wind's pushing. Well, kind of, the whole tent's on a funny angle, I think. I think we need to try and get it pulled over a bit. Right, let's see if we can see what it's like inside. It's all a bit of a rush this, but I'm glad it's summer still. And what we have of it. Right, this is tonight's view. That cloud has just kind of pushed around, but look at that. Look at Scotland now. Oh, there's something rolling in. Got a bit of water. Right, well, I'm all set up, kind of. I'm just sort of chilling at the minute. Now, I love this because I've got this door all the way open, and it really opens up the tent and gives you room. And considering I'm on my trekker chair, it's like, and I've doubled it over, I've still got like a bit of room as well. So it is quite roomy in here. So as far as compared to the Southern Cross one that I've got, I do believe that this is all of the vestibules a bit smaller, but I think if you're not pitched on an angle like I am, it's going to be quite comfortable. And yeah, it's really sturdy as well, considering the wind that's pushing out there. I just measured it before at 20 mile an hour, and albeit my Southern Cross one will be all right, but this is just, it's just not moving. I mean, it has got one more extra pole, and the poles are stronger, and 50 million guy lines. So yeah, I mean, my head's touching the top here, but I am sat kind of on an angle. I'm sure if I scooted around a bit more, I'd be on a better angle. Right, I'm going to get my boots on. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to brave going out because it's a bit chilly now. And I'll show you the tent from the outside. Right, so there she is. The Solo. To give you an idea of the height where I'm at. That's Binsey, where I camped on. And the height where we are, we're 50 foot, I've checked, and we're 50 foot below the summit. So I'm going to take a walk up to the summit now. Right, so there's the tent. I'm going to have a wander up. See what I mean by the colour? Sort of stands, it sort of, can't even see it on the camera, but it shades in a bit better. I think it's needs straightened up a little bit as well. But so the colour on that tent, if that had been dark green, I think it would show up a lot more. So I am happy with the tent itself. If anyone isn't sure what these prices of these tents are, but they're not cheap. They're not cheap. I was lucky enough to get hold of one for a good price. The quality on them tents are second to none, really. Yeah, I mean, the tent blends in so well now that you can't really tell. You could lose that tent, no problem. If that was a dark green tent, it would stand out so well. But it's just nothing. I mean, I'll be surprised if the camera can pick it up. Right, so we're just going up to the summit of Skiddaw. It's 9 o'clock at night. Gets dark at 10 these days. And it's picking wind up, getting quite windy. Like, just looking up at the trig point, and there's like a stick hanging out. Right, the crazy things that people do. There's a random stick that someone's put in there. For some reason it fits. So they brought that up and it kind of stays there. Right, fair enough. It's starting to get dark now. You can see a few lights coming on. So that's the trig point. And this is the, not the trig point, this is the viewpoint thing that people look at. So that way's north. Let's just point due north. And it shows you Bassenthwaite Lake, Maryport in that direction. I would not have thought that. Like, being a local, I would have thought Maryport would be further over, but it's saying Maryport's that way. Fair enough. Just so you know, that's Calside down there, and that's where previously my highest pitch. You can even look down on quite a lot of other pitches that I've done. It's quite hard to pick them out. Obviously Cat Bells over there, and then we've got Rolling End just over there, and where else have I been? Causey Pike, I think you just make that out there, and straight over there we've got Bath, and in that direction, let's have a look, that there we've got Sale Fell, and obviously Binsey. Look at that. Yeah, swore then. Look at that sunset now. It's beautiful. Let's see if I can get any. Let's see if we can get a zoom on that. It's gorgeous. Right, I'm just going back down. So that was random. I just met 4 guys from uni, Manchester Uni, and we're all coming up to the top there. Set off a bit late than I thought that they did, and we had a good old chat, which was really good. Some nice guys. That's one thing you can guarantee when you're up a mountain. You always find nice people. You never find anyone who's a dick. You know, there always seem to be, especially, you know, up these higher mountains. Summit there, probably only about 10 foot below, and then we'll come down here again, like I say, 50 foot below, and I think I could just make the tent out. It's been quite windy as well, so hopefully everything's still in one piece. Oof. Don't know if you can see there. Lovely sunset that I can see there. Right, anyway, I'll bring you back in the tent.
Good morning. So, literally just woke up, had a little peek outside, and as you can see, there's a bit of a sunrise. So it was clear last night, but then it got cloudy into the morning. And the ground's dry, but the tent's, the external part of the tent's wet. I had a bit of condensation last night because I had it all zipped up. Forgot to put the open the vents, forgetting that this tent doesn't have side vents, so you do have to vent it. But I opened the vent up, and the all in a part of the tent's nice and dry now, which is good.
Good morning, part 2. Right, so it was 5 o'clock, I think it was, when I woke up. So this time it's nearly 8 o'clock. It's 5 to 8 now, and I'm packed all away. Obviously I haven't put the tent away yet, but I just thought I'd give you my first opinion on this tent and what I think. Spent a night in it, windy setup, sitting in the wind,
quite high up, so I'm using this tent for what it's built for. Rather than sitting in a park or anything and having a chat, I thought I'd give you a rundown of what I find my first night in a high quality Hilleberg tent. You can hear that. So that's how taut it is, and I've never, once I've put the pegs in and pulled the guys, I haven't touched it, and it's still tight. Obviously the inner is loose, but that gives you, a good gap. There's about that much distance between, you can probably see there. You can see the distance between the tent and the inner. And the wind was blowing from this direction, which I believe is the better way to set it up. And as you could probably tell in the video, I didn't struggle to put it up, but the guys were all messed up and everything, so I need to tie them up and do all that. That was just sort of out of the bag, and I shoved it all back in again, and so all the guys were tangled up. Now, first impressions, after a first night. It's higher. There's some people saying that this isn't high enough. I mean, I'm 5'8", and compared to the other two tents that I've got, this is very roomy for a one man. It's a good one man. It's a good size on the inside. The vestibule's smaller, but I envisage this being a sort of winter tent and spending more time in this part than I would be in that part. But I love this idea of how you can just open up the door there, and it gives you access. It's so much easier for packing away. So I'm thinking in winter time, when you're packing away, you don't have to go outside for anything. I can do everything in the tent and get ready before I go out, which is perfect for what I want. Now, I do believe this is the head end, but we're kind of on a slope going that way. So I slept up this side. I think tent pockets you can love them and you can give or take. These ones, what happens is when you load them up, if you put your phone or anything in them, they bend down like that. So what I tend to do is just use them for putting tissues in and toilet roll, whatever you need. And then this space in the corner here, I tend to sort of put all my electronics there and keep them in the bag, and then that works fine for me. So feature wise, I think I probably said in the middle of the night, so this was all starting to condensate, and what it was is I didn't leave this vent down. And obviously being summertime, it was starting to condensate. So all I did was pulled this fly mesh thing down a bit, opened this vent up, and it's been fine. There's a few droplets, but that's on the outside. Again, I haven't used this fly mesh, but this mesh goes all the way down. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, tight these door tags. Whether I just haven't figured out the way to do it. There we go. Right. So when you've got this, hang on, I need to do the other one. So when you've got this this door put up, you've got this fly mesh, and it goes all the way down. So I think it's even, is it yellow in colour? Quite possibly. So you know, the fly mesh goes all the way down. So if you do have the door open, you can get some sort of view out there. So you could have this door open, have this fly mesh down, and still see the views outside, which again is another bonus. One thing I also noticed as well that I haven't seen in many views is it's got a bit for drying lines, so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of hanging points, so you could hang a light off one, or you can have a drying line across there. Probably not so useful in the UK. Right, I'm just going to get my shoes on and go out for the first time and have a look at the outside of the tent in the daylight. In my sort of panic with the wind last night, I did put some stones on top of the pegs. Now, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I could imagine it could potentially cut through the guys. So we'll get them stones removed and have a look at see what the angle of the pegs are like in the wind. I would imagine they're fine, but we'll double check. Might be someone out here. Oh. It's always good to get out of tent. Oh, stunning views actually. It's quite nice today. Right, let's have a look where we are. So the top of Skiddaw is just there. These are semi-slack. This one's fairly tight, but holding well. These ones are tight. I imagine these ones are a bit slacker, yeah. These ones are slack, so you can see a bit of condensation on the inside there, and probably not guyed out so well. A little bit of condensation on the bottom there, but overall quite good, and that's probably just my bad not having it vented. But we'll get this packed away now, and as you can see the wind's totally dropped down. Okay, I'm going to get this packed up and we'll head off. There we go. Same policy, leave no trace. I think 2 people came down here this morning. So basically, 2 people saw the tent, and that's it. Right, we're back on the path. What a gorgeous day it is today. We're going to get up over the top there, and we'll have a look at some views and stuff, eh? And maybe have a look around here for a second attempt at doing a summit. And there's another 2 people coming up there, so shows how busy it can be. Now potentially this could be a spot. It's nice and level here, but as you can see it's just all rocks. So maybe next summer when I've got a bit more to it, I might try something like that. Right, well we've got a semi-inversion over there, just over
at that point, so I might hang around. No, I won't, because the wind's going that way, so we're going to miss it. So if I'd been over at Blencathra or something like that, or even Scafell Pike, there would have been an inversion. Just chatting to the two guys that camped down the bottom there, and they experienced the windy night as well. They were in the OEX, like small one-man thing, so yeah, quite safe in them things. I know they're cheaper tents, but they sit down low, but you don't get the room, you know. I think that's where the Sulo comes into its own, you know. It's as strong as these little tents that sit down really low, but you can sit up. Right, so we're just on the traverse between Lower Man, Little Man, whatever it's called, and Skiddaw. I was expecting no wind here, but the wind's probably changing. That's probably why you've got this cloud front coming in. And it's, whereas wind was coming in from the east, the prevailing winds, and now it seems to be coming in from the south. And normally, with its wind that way, you get this bit sheltered, and the cloud's starting to climb up over Blencathra. So we're not going to miss anything really. We're not going to miss any inversion, because if it's going to climb on over Blencathra. Done it again, Helvellyn. See, getting these two mixed up. Does anyone else get Blencathra and Helvellyn mixed up? There's so many potential camping spots over this side as well. And you know, the saddle of Blencathra, in fact, yes, it is Blencathra. There's a camping place that that a few people have done, almost on the top of Blencathra, and that's probably another one for the Hilleberg. You know, it's almost like a tent to test, see what it's like. It's a kilo more than, I mean, it's 1.7 kilos more than my lightest tent. And you can feel it, you know, compared to last week when I went up Bleabury Fell with a 6 kilo bag. I've now got probably nearly double that. And I can feel it, you know. It's a longer walk up here as well. Obviously, if I was on a bike, this would be horrendous. You know, climbing up a hill on a bike with a big pack like this. Yeah, you can see where I camped on Lonsdale. And right, so I was on about Skiddaw Forest before. There's a little forest down there. It's a pack of trees, really. Surprised they're still growing, but it just shows you. I mean, this was called Skiddaw Forest, and there's nothing. It's devastation. In fact, I was looking at some old pictures of the Lake District, and not really old where there's loads of trees, but when Borrowdale was just used for burning wood, you know, and building houses and all sorts of stuff. And I was looking at some mountains, and now they're covered in trees, but back then they were just desolates. So we are turning things around, you know. Things, you know, the fells are starting to get a few more trees back, certainly in the valleys. I mean, maybe they should do a plantation over there and get Skiddaw Forest back. It would be nice, actually, to get a forest over there. Don't think the farmers would like it. They like the sheep grazing. This is what I like about Skiddaw. It's one that you don't need to think. The path's just nice and easy to follow, and to get up to the top, you've got some great views. I know it's outlying, you know, you don't have, like Bleaberry Fell, you had that sort of 360 views, and all that kind of stuff, you know, you're looking onto Skiddaw. In fact, Bleaberry is just right there, and but when you're walking back down here, you can see all the famous mountains, really. You know, you've got Blencathra, Helvellyn, Great Gable, and Scafell Pike. Obviously the clouds are coming in now, and you get some nice views of Derwentwater as well. You know, the camera doesn't do it justice at all. Just looking down at the car park where I'm parked, and there was 3 cars when I was there last night. It's completely full now, and I'm, you know, past about maybe 20 people coming up, and so probably expecting a lot more coming up here as well. Right, we're starting the descent of Jenkins Hill. So we've got 1,000 foot down now, 300 meters to descend. It's quite steep, this section. So I might get my sticks out and get down that way. Right, so that's been the highest camp I've ever done. Probably gonna stay one of the highest for a while. I think it's going to be hard to get any higher, to be honest. Maybe on Helvellyn there might be somewhere, or even the fabled Scafell Pike. This has been Lost in the Lakes, and we'll see you in the next one.